early, baby. Set it early. 180.
Listening to all Chiefed Up, the best damn Kansas City Chiefs podcast in the kingdom.
Chiefs Kingdom ACU crew, welcome back to another podcast for that ass. We're live today, Steve. Just an impromptu here talking about Rashee Rice.
Talking a little bit about Rashee Rice. It's not worthy of a live stream, but we wanted to be live and hang out anyway.
Is it not? What in
You
the
what?
world have you done? Did you just get attacked by a dragon, for Christ's sake?
I think so. I gotta watch out.
What the heck's happening out here, man? Anyways, Rashee Rice. Adam Schefter released an article today. A little Shefty chef. Dov posted about it, but he said Rashee Rice expected to serve at minimum a multi-game suspension per Shefty. You got to be an ESPN Plus member to read Shefty Chef, but not here today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to bootleg that bad boy. Circa, what was that, like Napster? I'm like the Napster of NFL
Like
news.
LimeWire, Napster,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
All the kids won't even have a clue what we're talking about right now. They'll say, what's LimeWire? What's Napster? What are you talking about? Look, Shefty is Metallica. I'm Napster. I'm about ready to show you all everything he did today. Here it is. Expected Chiefs to keep a close eye on wide receivers, says, Shefty Chef. Talking about the draft, he says Rashee Rice looming legal issues and potential NFL discipline could push the Chiefs to look even harder at wide receiver early in this draft. Okay, one sentence down, Steve. Is that not Captain Obvious? Everyone knows that. Shefty's going to make you pay to hear that?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I thought about this whole story when it came out. Was like, we already knew he was going to get suspended.
Right.
Like, there's nothing news about that. I'm almost positive the guy's going to get suspended. It's going to be 2 games to 6 games. Could be more. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows what it is, man? Like, who knows?
You give me a number, Schefter, and then I'll pay for your stupid story. But until then, you don't tell me that the sky is blue.
Right. He says Rice is facing 8 charges after he and another driver are speeding, blah, blah, blah. He is facing 1 count of aggravated assault, blah, 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 blah. He turned himself in, blah, blah, blah. We know every bit of this, Chef. You didn't break this today, okay?
He was
then
bored today, bro.
But if you read the last line, he says Rice is expected to be disciplined by the NFL, resulting in at least a multi-game suspension, which means they may look for a wideout at 32. And he says General Manager Brett Veach says, I think it's one of the deeper classes talking about wide receivers. There's a large group of receivers in the first 50 picks that we have great grades on. Then I think there's another pocket right behind that. So it sounds like to me, top 50, they've got a big clump of wide receivers. And then as soon as you get to like pick 70 through 100, there's another big clump of wide receivers. And that is obviously going to be what? Tier 2, tier 3, maybe tier 3, tier 4? I don't know what they're considering their tiers. But Steve, this isn't all that big of news, but I will say this. Multi-game suspension from the NFL. We said what? Expect 4, 6 games, and then it'll probably get shut down to like 4 to 2. You've been on the 2-game bandwagon, huh?
Yeah, I think so. That's where I'm at until further notice. I just think, like, Alvin Kamara got 2 games, I'm pretty sure. Like, I feel like it should be in that range. It's not domestic, or else I'd say 6. I'm going to stick with 2. That way, when they do come out with 4 or 6, it's like, whatever. But I was really hoping for 2.
Right. Well, the draft's here in just a few days, and everybody's saying, hey, it's wide receiver. Now the new trend has been left tackle. Again, we brought in Kingsley Suamataia. Nobody's even pronouncing his name correctly still. How angry does that have to make this poor fella? Like, we're a week away. Nobody will even say the name correctly, but all chiefed up. What's going on? Say his name properly.
Suamataia.
Suamataia.
What if he was like Marquez Valdez-Scantling? And he just got mad every time someone said his name wrong, even though it's a ridiculous name.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Actually, though, I think it might be pronounced Suamataia.
Suamataia.
So it's a little back and forth, but still, it's better than Suamatia. I've heard the wildest crap.
Samatatatua.
Samatama. It's wild, man. But yeah, a lot of people are speculating offensive tackle. There was a thing come out today, man. Patrick Paul actually come out and said teams have him high on their draft boards, and he expects to be taken in the first round. Was he talking about the Chiefs? We know they've talked to him.
Man, I do think I've got to the point where I think that Patrick Paul's probably the safe play for the Chiefs.
If you want just left tackle, I think so.
I think it is, if that's what they're going to do. But I think more and more as the day goes by, Mike, I think that the Chiefs are just going to do best player available. I don't think they have any idea what specific position they're going to try to draft in round 1 or round 2.
Right. Well, yeah. Veach, he already told everybody, hey, there's 16, 18 players, round 1 grades. And look, if one of those 16 to 18, which he already led on that I think 4 or 5 were QBs, I find it hard to believe that 5 QBs are in the top 18. That's wild. A lot of people didn't even put J.J. McCarthy in the top 18.
Right.
So I think he's blowing smoke on that. I think they probably got 3, and then we'll give them JJ. So 4, let's just say they had 18. We got 4. He's now got 14 players. If one of those 14 players was to get down to, say, 21, 22, 23, might he trade up? Absolutely, I think he might. If it's a player of value, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not about the position per se. It's about the player. Kind of like the Trent McDuffie thing, Mike. No one expected that. We didn't think he was going to draft corner in the first round. But when someone like McDuffie fell down that far, it's like, that's ridiculous value if I can grab him at 21.
If, for example, he had, say, Peyton Wilson, linebacker. Just say they're enamored with him. We don't need linebackers. And just say he's one of the top 14, as we just discussed. Peyton Wilson's number 14, and he's there at 21 or 22. They're not trading up for a linebacker.
I don't think they necessarily have to trade up. I think.
Do you take the linebacker at 32 if that's one of your top 14? I mean, I'm not saying it is. I'm just giving you a scenario. I think you at some point have to say, well,
I think if it's a top player on the board, they're taking them. If it's a top player on their board.
Outweigh, you think?
I don't think it matters to them. I do feel like the Chiefs are in a position where they can do that. They don't have to have anything right now. People can think that. Like, we think it would be nice for them to have a left tackle or a wide receiver. But how often is all the fans on the same wavelength as Brett Veach?
Not a lot. People,
right.
I seen that today. A lot of people's like, man, it wouldn't be draft season if you wasn't disappointed by Brett Veach. I'm ready to be disappointed. But then in the same breath, in Veach we trust. How many times do we hear that? Not even allowed to talk about the draft. By the way, we're putting together a fun list of things that all Chiefed Up's not allowed to talk about or say. we have this like hilarious.
It's getting good, baby.
Yeah, we got this hilarious list going where all these other, and I'm sure it happens to everybody else. We're just not privy to it. But we talk about how Chiefs Kingdom will argue with a rock about how hard it is. It's the most insane thing ever. We get told all the time, like the most crazy stuff. We were told in the past 3 days that we're not allowed to say Chiefs Kingdom.
Don't address everyone as Chiefs Kingdom.
Don't address you guys as Chiefs Kingdom. They didn't give a reason. So we're not allowed to say Chiefs Kingdom.
They made it seem like that was like derogatory.
Yeah, that was weird. What else was? I had one yesterday. It said, every time you open the show with podcast for that ass. And they didn't even say ass. He said that A word that rhymes with podcast, I turn it off. I can't even watch you guys because you're so vulgar. And I said, wait a second. You don't care that we say horned up and talk about Chris Jones schlong, but you're going to turn it off because I said ass? Like, what are you for? Like, what is going on?
Can you imagine not consuming any form of media that said the word ass? You would just have to sit in darkness.
It says ass in the Bible like 14 times.
Can't even read the Bible.
Can't even read the Bible.
Can't even love Jesus.
He's so holy, he can't even read the Bible. This guy. Let me tell you something. But yeah, we've got a list of stuff. We just talk about it. We're like, dude, we could say the Chiefs wear the color red, and somebody would come on. And they would have
it's more of a
it's more of a dark burgundy with a bluish hue.
dude. I love it.
That goes. Yeah, it's insane.
Disclaimer: this is like the small percentage. Like most of you guys
No.
are all cool, but we get those couple comments every once in a while. It's just hilarious. I
we
laugh
thought about
at them,
putting
yeah.
them together in one big episode and just showing you guys what we have to read on a daily basis. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Dusty Moose Knuckle says, "Don't listen to Slapnuts." We don't take what they say to heart.
No, it's
we
just
have
funny.
fun with it. We laugh about it. So
It's just
I would
funny.
almost be disappointed if we released a video or something and we didn't get at least one comment that was really stupid that made me laugh.
Hey, if they ain't hating, we're not relevant. You got to be hated, right? Isn't all the greats hated?
Special 2 plums for one.
Don't hate if you're great. 2 plums for one. How's everybody doing today? I know there's not a lot of great news out there. It's getting kind of slow.
Right.
I think all the draft news right now, too, by the way. Do you even trust it? I think at this point, everybody's just blowing smoke and smoke screening. And, look, if I'm the Chiefs
Yeah, who
and
knows?
I'm sitting at 32, all these talks about quarterbacks, man. You're loving the fact. Like, I think Schefter also said in his report today, he expects 5 QBs in round 1. Penix or Bo Nix will be the 5th. And he says he's about 90% sure that the way the game's going, all 6 will be taken in the first round. And if you're the Chiefs, you got to be sitting here being like, excellent. Who falls? If you're taking quarterbacks that we don't need, people are falling that we do need. I bet Brett Veach is he's horned. He's horned up in there.
Horned up.
And I don't even know what you do, but if you're the Chiefs, are you coming out with I think I'm going to go into the media this week, and I'm getting on everything I can if I'm Brett Veach, and I'm talking about how Devin Leary out of UK can flat out spin it. He ought to be a round 1 pick too. And I think Jordan Travis, he's progressing from the ACL. I mean, got to probably take him in round 1. I'm pitching everybody. I'm pitching the kid from Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell. He can play quarterback too. Draft him for QB. I don't know.
They messed up. It was supposed to be quarterback, not cornerback.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He's the next Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. John Reese Plumlee out of UCF.
Right.
First round talent.
If you guys are just coming in, hit that like button for us. It just takes a second. It helps us out tremendously. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to do that. It just takes a second. And you want to come back and hang out more often. But what we were talking about today was Rashee Rice. Adam Schefter came out and said that he's looking at a multi-game suspension. The sky is blue, right? We all know that. I was hoping to get more clarification or like more of even a guess from someone like Schefter that has that kind of ends to know how many games. But I'm still thinking around the 2, maybe 3 mark. I think Kamara got 3.
Right.
So I would be a little pissed off if he got more than Alvin Kamara. So I think 3 or less is where we should be. But either way, Mike, a lot of people think that this news that he's going to be suspended, which everybody has speculated since the incident took place, is going to sway how the Chiefs draft.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is true, not even a little bit.
Right. I don't either. Something that may sway how we draft this.
We better draft all defense. How are we going to stop the Broncos?
I'm almost positive the Broncos watched that film of us playing the Jets last year in which Patrick Mahomes struggled and Zach Wilson actually looked like the gunslinger.
Yeah.
I think that they seen a kink in the armor and they said maybe this Zach Wilson kid maybe he's the Chiefs' kryptonite.
Right.
And they went out and they traded it. They said, look, it's not bad enough that we come out here and released UTEP's uniforms. We had to come out here today and we had to one-up UTEP's uniforms, which are these, by the way, if you haven't seen these ugly-looking things. Like, if UTEP or UTSA, their designs, they need to be suing. I think Denver's trying to move down to Texas. But, yeah,
so?
if they had to go get Zach Wilson.
I was thinking about this earlier.
Good night.
Sometimes I think about how could, in a time like this, like with the economy and everything, how could I make more money for the family, right? Like, how can I better take care of the family?
Oh, gosh.
If I changed my last name to Wilson, I wonder if I could get a QB contract with the Broncos.
Possible, man.
You think
It's
so?
Wilson. They go from one Wilson to the other. I think you have to draft a QB, though, still, right?
They
don't
need to.
They don't have a round 2 either. So, in my opinion, I might be bigger on Bo Nix than a lot of people. I think Bo Nix is a pretty good quarterback, and I actually think he's better than Penix.
Don't you think Zach Wilson's kind of like an insurance plan or a backup plan? Like, hey, if we draft a guy early and he doesn't pan out, at least we can throw this kid in there. He's got some experience.
He's going to compete. He'll compete with a rookie anyway, surely.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, another thing is, too, okay, look, if you put Zach Wilson with the Chiefs and Andy Reid, I think he's fine. So I think Sean Payton ought to be able to do some stuff with Zach Wilson, in my opinion. So maybe good. Maybe good for him. Can't be any worse than he was, right? Zach Wilson is an upgrade to what they had, right? I think you got to go get Bo Nix. I think that's your play.
They might take a stab at McCarthy. What if they try to trade up and grab him?
They don't hardly have any draft capital, though. That's the problem. They're
What
stuck
about
with that
next
around
season?
2. Yeah, you could start going into some wild draft day trades for years to come.
Yeah, who knows? Pop's in the house with the 5 bomb, supporting the boys. Look at you.
Pops with a 5 bomb out here.
Mikey says we're doomed. Zach attacked by the donkeys.
Let's go. Air horn it up for Pops. Let's go.
That
2
horn's,
of them.
That horn's too much.
We are doomed. I don't know. Pops, I don't know if we're doomed, you know. I think, yeah, we might be. I mean, come on. That's the Mahomes Slayer that lost.
I think you think it's him or Jordan Love.
Man, the Green Bay Packers fans were just all out insane over that game. Like, I was reading things where they were just talking about how, like, Mahomes was washed now. Jordan Love is the king of football. One game in which Marquez Valdes-Scantling just drops the wide open touchdown and you would have lost. What? I don't know, man.
Yeah, that was the Green Bay game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Man, he stinks. I wonder where he's going to end up at. Hopefully the Chargers.
Probably. Tad says he was trading for as close to a 0 as possible, and the Jets are paying part of his $5 million. Well, they almost have to because, good Lord, I think they're paying so much on Russell Wilson. You know how the Chiefs had to come out with a tax to upgrade. I think they're taxing people in Colorado to pay for Russell Wilson's contract. They owe so much.
They're literally paying for a quarterback for the Steelers, bro.
Right. Des says, would you guys be upset with Jalen Wright in round 5?
Absolutely not, Des.
No, Jalen Wright's our number 2 running back, and I think he'll go in round 3 or 4. So if we got him in round 5, party hard.
Yeah,
Party hardy, rock and roll.
That kind of value, that's welcome right there.
Yes.
I'll take it. I do like Jalen Wright. I think we actually thought about the Chiefs maybe taking a stab at a 3rd or 4th round running back. Even though a lot of people have PTSD. But if you think about, they're not like, I guess in the Brett Veach era, they took Clyde in the 1st round. But even back at Dorsey, they took Kareem Hunt, I think, was a 3rd rounder.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, it's not the most outlandish thing.
No.
They don't need it, though. They really don't. I think any kind of running back they take have to be a luxury pick, right?
It's a luxury pick. And
like a value, like if you got extreme value on somebody.
And I still think I don't think they're ready to just give up on Deneric Prince either. We only had the guy for one off season.
Yeah, I think he could definitely. We know ceiling's high.
What happened though? LaMichael Pirine horned up. Like everybody was PPing on the PP with that guy.
They thought he was the next Adrian Peterson during the preseason last year.
So much. Like, why are we? Like, people should be talking about him starting this year. As like crazy as everybody was.
Yeah,
don't forget Zamet.
Zamet Bobby.
Zamet Bobby's going to play a huge role.
Yeah. Tom Hood.
But
Tom Hood, the suspension, we have no idea. Like, it's all speculation. I was hoping that Schefter was going to, shed some light on that, but he just says it's multi-game.
Multi-game. I mean, isn't that a cop-out to make it sound like you knew what you were talking about?
Yeah, 100%.
Because how dumb would it have been if he would have just been like, he's going to be suspended.
Well, we know he's going to be suspended.
Congrats.
And how often do they suspend someone for one game for something like this? So, yeah, multi-game suspension. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. I'm going to say 2, Tom. I'm going to cap it at 3. I think 3 is what Kamara got. I don't think it should
they
go
come
further than
out
that.
with 2, though? Or are you saying that they're going to come out with a bigger one and he's going to negotiate it down?
Either way, it's going to end up being 2. If it's more, then it's more or whatever. Like, I'm not claiming that I know anything, but that's just kind of what I'm feeling.
I feel like they may. Just may.
May or might?
I don't know. What are you, grammar, please?
I don't know. I was just playing. You have to attack me.
Well, good Lord. You sound like my freaking English teacher from high school. What a douche. Okay, well, Mr. Williams, the English teacher over here, I think, I'm not even going to say it.
You give up now?
I don't even remember what I was saying. Something about, oh, yeah, I think they'll try to make a point out of them, though. They could go for like 4 to 6.
Well, I do think this is like becoming more of a thing, right? Like, obviously, the Henry Ruggs incident, the kid that got drafted, I always forget his name. I don't know why.
Jalen Carter?
Yeah, Jalen Carter. Like, you're starting to see like it more and more. So maybe they will like go ahead and like, hey, this is becoming a trend. We got to put a stop to it.
I thought about doing a video, a short. You know how they do Patrick Mahomes every year running the 40 next to like people that run the 40 faster?
Yeah.
I thought about doing the 4.21.40 John Ross. Oh, yeah, not John Ross. Xavier Worthy, my bad.
Same
guy. I thought about putting his 40 up against Rashee Rice going 119 miles an hour and seeing how fast that would be. But I thought that might be a little insensitive, and Chief fans would just cry about that.
Yeah.
You're making fun of him.
Could have killed somebody.
It's crazy. Well, yeah, I guess he could have, but he dodged one there, I guess.
Yeah, he did. He really got lucky. Like, honestly, no matter what happens from here on out,
Dude,
Rashee
he could
Rice
get suspended.
got super lucky.
What? He could get suspended 8 games, and I think you got off lucky.
Right. Kevin Capel says Kareem got 8 games. Rice will probably get the same. I just don't think that the NFL, like, now I'm not saying that the offense is any greater than the other one. I'm not here to give you my thoughts on that. But, like, kicking a woman as opposed to racing a car, I don't think the NFL holds that on the same because they really try to crack down on the domestic stuff. So I think that's why Kareem got so much.
But a lady was injured in the accident and is now suing. So technically that is a form of domestic violence.
No, like I
No,
understand.
not domestic, but whatever it's called.
I get it. Like, I think that it's no different to me. Like, it could possibly be worse than what happened with Kareem Hunt. Like, when you really think about it. But I don't know. Like, Charles Omenihu last year, he got 6 games and nothing even happened there. Willie got 4 games for the vacuum cleaner. Like, I just feel like they really tried to make a point on
Think about how dumb that sounds. Willie Gay got suspended 4 games for a vacuum cleaner being broken.
Right. So I don't know, man.
Jeez.
I think I don't know. I don't see 8 games, but I mean it's definitely possible.
I guess anything's possible with Roger Goodell. He's kind of like a wild card, right?
Yeah, you never really know with him.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting. Like, straight up.
Brian Parrott says, check the pit, Steve. Maybe Kathy fell in there. Who am I looking for? Did you throw somebody in the pit? Did anyone throw anyone in the pit?
I was trying to look.
I don't think we sent anybody to the pit lately, Brian. She should be okay.
Yeah. I'll look. I'm looking right now, but I don't see nothing.
HT
I'm going to send
Chiefs
Brian
fan.
to the pit if Kathy's not in the pit.
Yeah, because you're just doing all this work for nothing.
Yep.
HT Chiefs fan says, I predict a minimum suspension of 4, but possibly 6. Willie Gay and Omenihu got 4 for domestic violence. Now you have several claiming injuries that are lifelong. Yeah.
Somebody threw Karth in the pit. What is going on? Who is out here putting people in the pit?
You have to take them out of the pit.
Karth's out of the pit. What's happening out here?
I don't know.
Our mods have gone crazy.
Karth said something he shouldn't have. No, yeah, I don't know, man. When I kind of compare it to the other offenses, It's really hard to do. It's apples and oranges. It's different situations, right?
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows? But I do know if it was domestic, it'd be at least 6 games. Like, that's the only thing we do know. Like, how long did Justin Ross get? Like, put on the little banned list for?
He was out for a little while, but they didn't actually suspend him, did they?
They did. They ended up doing it, but he was on like a ban list for a minute.
You're right.
But a lot of his become unsubstantiated too, I thought. So, I don't know. It's just really hard to tell. It's total crapshoot.
It's just total crap. You know what they're going to do? They're going to wait and announce it like right before the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, if you think about the Willie Gay one, they did wait till a critical part of the season.
Yeah, they waited till we played Buffalo.
Yeah, and then did it. So, I mean, you never know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep. I don't see Kathy in the pit, so I don't know.
See, and like Tom said, Willie Gaze was deemed domestic abuse because that's, of course, that's what it was technically. But yeah, that was 4 games. Omenihu 6 for something that didn't happen, or apparently, I don't know, but it's up in the air. What it is you had Ray Rice punch that lady in the elevator. And ever since then, they've tried to crack down big time on domestic stuff. Because you have people like Joe Mixon in the league who beats women. You have people like Tyreek Hill in the league. Like, it's like they all know this, and they had a bad look going. So to try to counteract that, they're like, let's overreact to everything that could be considered domestic. And that's what they've been doing. But I just don't know where, the Rashee Rice racing his car falls into that mix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I honestly don't know. I mean, if they take it as in it could have hurt somebody, don't do this stuff, they could try to set an example. Maybe he is the lucky example setter, but who knows? I'm not going to. There's really no reason to speculate on it because, to be honest, I don't think the Chiefs really hurt from it too much anyway.
No. Of course, they're better with Rashee Rice, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference.
Carth appeared. He said out of the pit. I don't even know how. That's what we said, Carth. I was just looking through the pit, and I said, who put Carth in the pit? And then I took you out of the pit because I don't think you should be there.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
I don't know why, Carth, but appreciate you, brother.
He's back, baby.
Why was Carth in the pit? That's one that we'll never know.
It's like the Terminator.
Daniel says they're going to announce Rice's suspension in week 12 for 6 games.
Would it surprise you if they did something stupid like that? I really wouldn't surprise me much, I don't think. Dad says, do you think Creed and Nick get extended before training camp? I think Nick Bolton might get his extension before the other guys, maybe. I don't know. There's been a little bit of smoke about that one.
Yeah, I feel like Nick Bolton is probably going to get the extension just because Spags just signed the extension, and Spags has talked about how he just loves them. So he wears the green dot. He's everything that you want. He's a leader. I think they go there. I still think Creed gets it too. A lot of people aren't under the assumption that Creed's safe, but I think he's 95% safe in my opinion.
I think so too. I think the one that, as depressing as it is, I think it's Trey Smith that has to worry a little bit, right? With the market for guards was just getting a little crazy, and then I don't know.
Randall says Rice may still do jail time for assault, except for there was no assault. That was a fraudulent charge.
Yeah, that'll get thrown out.
That was a what was that? They explained it.
Yeah,
they call it assault, but it's something else, and they already said it ain't gonna stick. So
no.
Yeah, it wasn't like he got out of the car and beat somebody.
He's not going to do any jail time.
Yeah, I don't think he does either.
He's going to pay some restitution bills. He's going to get suspended by the league.
Look, I think a lot of other fan bases are hoping this guy does jail time.
Absolutely. They're going to make it they're going to make it a Henry Ruggs situation.
Yeah, they're trying to hype it up. And at the end of the day, the worst thing he did was walk away from the scene of an accident and didn't check on anybody.
And that's terrible. That was pretty crappy of him.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad, but that's not a crime.
Right. Well, Henry Ruggs got out of his car.
Leaving the scene is a crime. I get it.
Henry Ruggs got out of his car and sit on the sidewalk and watch someone burn in the car. Think about that.
Right. Let's take that into perspective.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I think all these kids just need a wake up call.
They do, well, that's what people's thinking. They might try to send a message with Rashee Rice.
I think so too, but again, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be from a a legal standpoint.
No, I don't either.
Because legally, I don't think there's much there.
It'll be from the league, legal, the NFL legal.
I wonder if Goodell's going to talk about it. Goodell's going to join. They may not talk about it, but he is going to join during the draft. He's going to be on Pat McAfee's show. I kind of wonder if Pat McAfee will ask him about it.
Probably not.
He won't comment on it, though, because I don't think they're allowed to comment on stuff like that.
Nah, they probably won't.
Yeah, we're just not going to hear nothing from it.
Yeah. Ray says, by the way, Mike and Steve, isn't it amazing how much excuses the talking heads like Dan Orlovsky has for Josh Allen's lack of playoff wins? They literally defend that guy like he's their son. It's so weird. I've heard so many excuses for him. So many. And I hope the Bills are in the pit this year. I hope they just absolutely suck.
The Bills stink. Look, this is the year Josh Allen is going to have to do what Patrick Mahomes has had to do.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes has never had a Stephon Diggs type receiver, except for, Tyreek Hill, okay. But he's won without him. So let's see if Josh Allen can do the same.
Right.
I don't think they will. And honestly, I think they're going to be very desperate during the draft. I think they're going to try to trade up and grab somebody for him. Not saying it's going to be, Stephon Diggs quality, but.
Yeah, for sure. Our boy Lego in the house, moderating it up and working at the same time. Check this out. He's slinging waffles and putting people in the pit all at the same time, baby. What's up, Lego?
If he gives you a waffle while you're in the pit, great day.
That's awesome. Justin Johnson said Jamal Charles was a third rounder too, right? I believe Jamal Charles was third round, if not mistaken.
JC.
And I think we're in an era of football where you can get better talent as far as running backs go in the third round because they're falling. They're not valued as much.
Right. Schefter actually said that. He said that there may not be a running back taken till after pick 54, and maybe not until round 3. Sounds like an echo. I pretty much said that about, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, longer than that maybe. I just don't think there's Dallas could do it. Their running back roster is pretty crap. Like their depth there, but I don't think they take one in round 1. And even round 2, I think they may. We'll see.
I wanted to do it again, but I was afraid you'd yell at me. Dez is the gym says, any chance they actually use Skyy correctly this year? Or should I let it go? What do you think, Mike?
No. They've not proven they're going to use them right. What makes me think Andy's going to use them properly and just let him play the slot?
I don't think so either. But that's the only way they're going to
continue to struggle.
That's the only way they're going to get production out of that guy.
Yeah, people are going to just rage. And I guess at that point, you just call him a bust for our system. I think he could go somewhere else, and if they used him properly, he'd be – I'm not saying he's going to set the world on fire, but it'd be a lot better than what you'd see here.
100% agree with that. I think like Skyy Moore, if he was just a slot receiver, I think he could do some damage. You got to get the guy the ball quick and let him get yak. That's what he does. And we're not doing that. So
that was literally why he was drafted.
Right, and they've not used him that way whatsoever. So, I mean, there were a few plays and a few games last year where they did that, and he was productive in those few receptions. But they went right away from it. So that's all there is to it. This is a common misconception here that I want to address. We've talked about this a lot. I don't know how to say this. DiCanio, whatever your name is. Skyy Moore just never gets open. Skyy Moore had the most separation of any receiver on the entire team, didn't he?
It was about 3 yards of separation per pass attempt.
Yeah, it's insane how open he probably was.
I want to say it was like 2.7.
It was a pretty good little gap.
We talked about it. There was one whole episode. It was almost like 7 feet of separation.
He had a lot of separation, and he had poorly thrown balls.
Yeah.
So, once again, I mean, I just feel like if he was used differently, he's going to be fine in the league. Will the Chiefs do it? I don't know. To answer Dad's question, I wouldn't get my hopes up. But I would say if someone, uses him the way we think that he should be used, I think he'll be fine.
Well, you're never going to see it here. To answer the question, I don't think you're going to see it. And everybody, I see Kevin. He's a bust. Let it go. Godly Warrior. At this point, call it a bust and move on. You guys are very, 2 years into a guy. There's no patience anymore, is there?
Not if you're going to trade up for a guy in the second round. You get what you get.
They didn't trade up for him. They traded back.
Oh, they did. That's right. They traded back.
They traded back and got him.
I don't know. We'll see.
People just don't have patience. It's just that simple. It's a produce now kind of league.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like I said, anyhow, I mean, look at Felix. People already calling Felix a bust because he didn't do anything last year. He didn't even get opportunities. Kind of the same deal, right?
Did you see where, speaking of that, I think it was Bill Belichick. He was talking about how defensive linemen and specifically edges, you just about have to give them 3, 4, 5 years in the league before you know what they're going to do. Of course, there's outliers there. You know, you've got your big guys, but he said that they didn't really judge based on that position till they've been in the league 3 or 4 years.
Right.
And I think that's crazy. Because I'll be the first to say, man, I thought Felix, when he got his shot, he wasn't the greatest early on. But at the same time,
right, but if you can't get any
develop.
kind of, not to mention, if you're just getting in there for a snap or two here and there, that's not getting any kind of rhythm or anything, you know?
It takes time to get the rhythm and to learn. And it's still different because sometimes in college, just having a good pass rushing repertoire, which he did, you can beat college tackles. But in the NFL, everybody's good. They're all fast. They've all got good footwork. They've all got great hand placement. They're all going to know the move before you do it. So he's got to get that. He's got to get those reps. Like he really does.
Yeah, I'm with our boy JCP here. I think this is a make or break year for guys like Skyy Moore. Like you've had 2 years. You have your excuses for you. Like we give a million excuses. Like, hey, they've got to use them a certain way, which does limit you when you got to use a guy a certain way. But you drafted him. You knew this. So yeah, that's my thing.
We've said that about Andy and Veach forever. They draft these guys. They had to have a plan in place for how to use them, and then lo and behold, their plans must just suck.
Right. I think I'm with JCP. I just think that the Chiefs still have faith in these kids, like him and Kadarius Toney both. And I think that this is kind of a make or break year for both of them. Like, get out there and get something done. And that's another thing. Like, if they're not going to use you a certain way, you have to find ways to adapt. So I will say that that's on Skyy Moore. And then again, like, I feel like him and Mahomes' chemistry is not the greatest for whatever reason. If they could work on that, figure that out. Because we do know that a lot of the balls that went to Skyy Moore were uncatchable balls. So, like, he didn't have, I don't think they charged him for hardly any drops because they weren't even in a catch radius.
Right. Kevin says Skyy's always lost. He doesn't retain knowledge well. I don't sit in meetings with Skyy. I don't coach him. I don't know how much knowledge he retains.
Yeah,
I don't know how anybody knows that. I've never heard Andy say it.
There was one play where Patrick Mahomes wanted him to go out and Skyy went in, and it caused an interception. I think that's where that comes from. Like
the one that Patrick Mahomes made a boo-boo on and just threw it right to the defender.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then blamed it on Skyy. Mm-hmm. Or actually, he didn't. Everybody just did.
Dude, I'm sorry, but nothing's ever Patrick Mahomes' fault, okay?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes can see something. They can all see something and just get your wires crossed in the moment, but that wasn't a good play there. That might have been the one that dude on the Raiders picked off on Christmas, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe so.
Where he just threw some kind of ridiculous, like, out fade looking thing, and it was horrible.
Yeah, he wanted Skyy to go out, and he went in. That was it. But then again, was that
and the defender ran the route for him.
Was that a drawn up play, or was that just something that he thought, hey, you saw this, so you should have went?
That was what it was. He was so they were supposed to read each other's minds.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
That's the thing.
There's just been a disconnect with Skyy and all them there because it just feels like it. Like last offseason, Skyy was working out with Mahomes a lot in the offseason. He's been there working out with him this time, and they don't.
I mean, it very well could be him running bad routes or maybe not knowing the play, but we don't know that for sure. How would you know that? Even if Andy's not going to come out and tell you that.
True. Yeah, I've never seen that. So
I'm with K. Wayne. Some things are Pat's fault. 3 Super Bowl rings are Pat's fault. How many? Here, this is a fun exercise here. I want to know. I'm going to make a poll. Mike, if you want to take over the chat for a minute, I'm going to make a poll. I want to know if we had never drafted Patrick Mahomes and we had kept Alex Smith longer and Andy obviously still the coach, how many Super Bowls would the Chiefs have won to this point? I want to know if anyone thinks they would have won one or not. That's what I want to know. Like, do you think that they would eventually won one with Alex Smith?
Well, when does Alex Smith quit?
That's what
Has he been here the whole time?
we can't get into the all the different variables, Mike. But
I'm
I just want to know if Patrick Mahomes hadn't came to the team, do you think we'd have won a Super Bowl?
So you're basically just asking, do you think Alex Smith could have won a Super Bowl here?
Well, it could. Maybe it wasn't Alex Smith. Maybe they drafted a different quarterback the next year. I just want to know if they think, like, if Patrick Mahomes was never drafted to the Chiefs, if we would still be sitting on one Super Bowl.
I'll answer that for you. No, we wouldn't have won a Super Bowl. Gary says, Mike and Steve, if the Chiefs draft a left tackle with 32, who will it be? The more and more I'm kind of leaning towards is not Kingsley. I think they're leaning towards Patrick Paul at this moment. Because I think he's less of a project than Kingsley. I think he's played all of his snaps at left tackle. Yeah, Patrick Paul, I mean, he's been that guy. He's got a 91.5 pass block grade from PFF. He's got a true pass set pass block grade from PFF as an 89.8. He played 2,600 career snaps at left tackle, and he's only given up 5 sacks, 7 hits, and 34 hurries. And if you put that into perspective, 5 sacks and 2,600 snaps is 1 sack allowed in every 528 snaps. That's 1 sack in about 3/4 of a season. 7 hits is 1 per every 377 snaps. That's like once every 7 games. It's insane. And a lot of people are saying that they don't think he's all that developed yet. Well, by all means, let's take that much talent and let Andy Heck develop him a little bit. You know what I mean? I think Patrick Paul might be the way they go. I think he's a little more polished than Kingsley at the moment. Again, Jordan Morgan. I think somebody just put up Jordan Morgan in a mock draft today. Nick Wright, I think, mocked Jordan Morgan. And I'm still under the assumption I think Jordan Morgan, I think he could try him at left tackle, but I think ultimately he's going to kick down in the guard. So
yeah, I'm not a huge fan there. Why'd you take that down? That kind of went along with what you were saying, and I wanted you to answer that.
Oh, I thought that was the one.
Do you think Patrick Paul could beat out Wanye to start? If they were to draft Paul, do you think he could beat out Wanye this year?
I do. We were just looking at stuff today, and Wanye actually didn't do all that bad. Wanye was like the 6th tackle taken or something like that. There was who were the tackles taken? The tackles were overall. So in that draft, Paris Johnson Jr. was drafted number 6, and his overall grade was a 60 and a pass grade of a 64. Darnell Wright was 10th overall, and he was a 62 grade with a 61 pass. Anyways, Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, and Anton Harrison all got drafted in the first round. We even thought they were going up for Anton Harrison. Anton Harrison finished the year with a 53 overall and a 46 run blocking grade and a 61 pass blocking grade. If you compare that to Wanye Morris, Wanye had a 56 overall, a 63 pass blocking grade, and a 47 run block, which his run block was kind of atrocious, but he ended up playing better than Nick Saldivari, who got picked before him. He played better than Carter Warren, who was picked right after him. He played better than Tyler Steen, who was picked before him. He played better than Cody Mauch, who was picked before him. Wanye actually performed better than Anton Harrison at 28. And we got him in the 3rd round. So, yes, he can be beat out, I think. But I think this also goes to prove that wasn't all those guys in the 1st round last year supposed to be can't misses? People were talking about how Broderick Jones was just going to be God's gift to the world. Peter Skoronski was so good, can't miss. Darnell Wright, oh man, 27. Chicago takes him at 10 or 9 or whatever it was. and they all just have a lackluster year. And I get it, they're rookies, and 1 year don't define it, but I just don't know, man. To me, that kind of screams Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton, right?
Those type of guys, yeah. Who knows?
They're projects that you just don't know what you're going to get with them. So why waste the pick?
Yeah, Fred Smith in the house. He says, I haven't heard anything about Ross. Tell me something. There's nothing to tell you, Fred. I'm assuming you're talking about Justin Ross.
Nope, he's talking about John. He retired.
But Justin Ross, he's still working. Like if you go on like his Instagram or something, he's always posting, still grinding, still doing his thing. As far as the Chiefs are concerned, they haven't really said anything. So Andy made a comment about Kadarius Toney, how they still had faith in him. We know Skyy Moore's not going anywhere, but we haven't heard anything about Ross. I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you. My guess would be he's still competing for a spot on the roster. Will he make it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, what do you like? You've got to draft a wide receiver in this class. I think we all pretty much can come up with that one. So I don't think we're on board with taking 7 again. I think you got guys like Nico Remigio who could push for the roster. So
even if they take
just
7,
time to give up on the Justin Ross stuff.
If they draft a receiver, even if they take 7 again, it's still going to be like a little iffy for some guys. I mean, it just is. Because you're looking at Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Marquise Brown, Skyy Moore, Kadarius Toney. There's 5 right there that you almost know are going to make the roster.
Right.
So, I mean, it's getting pretty limited.
Forward said, did you just say walking away from a scene of an accident and not checking on anybody isn't a crime? I did. Walking away from the scene of the accident is a crime, but it's not mandatory to check on anybody. That's not a crime.
Right.
Might make you a bad person, but I don't think it does. As a matter of fact, I know people that have been sued for actually helping people. Trying to pull people out of cars, trying to give CPR, and they'll say, you made it worse by doing that, and then they will get sued. So it is not.
I think he probably just caught the walking away part.
Right. You can't leave the scene of an accident. Like, we all get that. But the checking on people, the checking on people is also the human aspect of it that a lot of people are dogging him for. So again, we've said this time and time again, that's the human aspect part that I think a lot of Chiefs fans and stuff, that's what they're holding against them more than anything.
With good reason. I mean, that's the part that disappoints me the most. Like, if you wanted to run away from the scene, that's one thing. But you have to think about it from his perspective, too. If he was trying to shield his identity in any way, like, I'm not saying it was the right thing to do, but for any reason, what have you, it's not like you could just walk over to everybody and be like, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, you know what I'm saying? So in his head, I don't know.
I don't know.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right, but
why would you shield your identity?
Well, first of all, if you're leaving the scene of the crime, you're probably hoping that you got out of there. But it's the year 2024. There's cameras everywhere. Big Brother's watching you. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what was going through his head. That's what I'm saying.
Honestly, maybe the lawyer could say, yeah, he contacted me and I told him to get out of there because I didn't want it to create a bigger scene.
Yeah, he's a celebrity status or he's a, blah,
maybe
blah, blah.
you could play that route, and honestly, it might work. Celebrities kind of get away with whatever they want if you got a little bit of money. But
I don't know if I'd consider him a celebrity, but they could spin it that way. Like, hey, he plays for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Blah, blah, blah. They could try to spin it, I'm sure. But that doesn't make it right. Either way, it did kind of, to me, that was the disappointing part, that the human aspect, like you said. For like, if he would have like at least checked and made sure everybody was okay and then dipped, I don't think people would be as mad, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's true.
But that kind of doesn't go hand in hand. Like, you're not really going to dip if you're sitting around checking on people. You know what I'm saying? So it's just wrong all the way around. But either way, multi-game suspension. That's the word on the street. Multi-game suspension. Really narrows it down, doesn't it?
I mean, that's just saying the sky's blue.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, Justin Ross did look amazing in Clemson, but so far, Do you think Justin Ross is kind of feeling the same effects that Skyy Moore is, where he's a particular type of player, so it makes it very difficult for him to succeed in Andy Reid's offense because he's asked to do a lot of things that he's not like particularly great at?
Absolutely. We've tried this bigger wide receiver over and over and over again, and we don't particularly run an offense scheduled around these big, tall, big-bodied X receivers. Like even MVS he disappeared in every single game just about. And like, I know we dog MVS, but it's like, well, MVS kind of made more of an impact than anybody else doing that position. Everybody else can't even get on the field. I mean, again, it was Josh Gordon coming off of a drug habit and Kelvin Benjamin we signed for like 4 games or whatever. But they've tried this over and over and it just doesn't work.
Yep.
I don't know. The scheme just, and that's kind of, I guess, what scares me a little bit about certain guys in this draft. Because I love Xavier Legette as much as the next guy, but he's got that vibe where he's that bigger bodied wide receiver, but I think he's got more intangibles.
He's more of a speedy guy. Like, I don't know. I feel like
Justin Ross cannot separate very well.
Like Xavier Legette falls into that A.J. Brown category. And the fact that we know that Brett Veach and obviously Andy Reid wanted A.J. Brown, they tried to trade for him. That makes me think they might like a guy like Xavier
He falls
Legette.
in the DK Metcalf category too, and we just heard Veach say that was a big mistake. So
Richie says effing commercials. Y'all getting the ads popping up. You know how we can prevent the ads? Super chats, something like that. That can prevent. We could probably turn all the ads off.
Yeah, we can turn every ad off if we got the money for the ads.
So far in an hour, we got $5 from our dad, so we have to take the ad money when we can get it.
Yeah, take your ad money.
Sorry, just hit the skip button.
Brian says Ross is a discount clothing store. It's about all it's been here in KC. I don't know if he's gonna pan out the way we want him. But the funny thing is, we've seen the shades. Like in the Vikings game, he caught that little deep fade. Yeah. I want to say against the Bears, he had a nice little catch on the sideline. You'll see flashes of it, but
I think Justin Ross has the ability to be a good receiver. I don't know if he's going to be groundbreaking like people thought, but like I think he could be.
Think of this one though,
pretty good.
What does Justin Ross offer you? He doesn't really separate very well. He's a contested catch kind of guy, right? Patrick Mahomes throws 0 contested balls.
He really don't that often. Like it's
tries
very rare.
To never once throw a contested catch. Like if you're not like Travis Kelce, he won't throw it contested.
Well, you know what's odd? I feel like he threw a lot of contested catches to Tyreek Hill back in the day. Like sometimes he'd throw in the double and triple coverage and let him try to jump up and get it.
I think he tried to coach that out of him. And then I think he kind of adhered to it too much.
He did have that year where it was like, hey, you have to take what the defense is giving you because they're playing that cover 2 shell. You need to chill a little bit. Maybe he's got to get a little bit of that slinger back inside of him, you know.
He needs, yeah. I mean, I seen shades of it this year, but he'll get it. I believe it. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting. But I do think Justin Ross kind of suffers from the same thing as Skyy Moore.
With that being said, though, if we know that Patrick Mahomes doesn't like to throw a lot of contested catch balls, doesn't that rule out a bunch of these wide receivers? That kind of rules out. It kind of rules out Xavier Worthy in a way because his big thing was just go deep and throw it up.
Well, that's okay too. I mean, I think Mahomes will throw the deep balls. Like as far as
does it rule out A.D. Mitchell? He's kind of contested catch kind of guy.
To me, it does. Like I feel like his game. But you know what? I will say this: Rashee Rice was considered a jump ball kind of guy.
True.
And they ended up being able to mold him into something a little different.
Do you think it's more important, though, to just get a guy that can get open? Like, do you just want a good route runner like a Lad McConkey and just call it a day?
Yeah, I like
Mahomes
that
would feel
a lot.
more comfortable throwing to a Lad McConkey, knowing that he's just open.
Once again, it depends on how you're going to use these guys. Because you could take Xavier Legette, and if you got him the ball on some slants and stuff like that, he could house one at any moment. He's that much faster than everybody else on the field.
Legette?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, but will they use him that way? And we don't know. We don't know what Andy's going to do.
Right. Kylie. Just want to say I found your podcast recently, and it's my new favorite. Thanks for bringing the news for me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kylie with the 5 E's. Mike, I think you played it off as like 10 E's, but it was only 5.
Kylie.
Appreciate the kind words, Kylie.
Yeah, appreciate it. I just don't know if I'm in the market for trading up. I think the more and more I think about it.
No, absolutely not. I don't think there's a reason to in this draft.
I think there's 2 players I would consider a trade up for if they slip through the. No, I take that back. 3. There's 3 players I'd consider a trade up for, and you're not going to like 2 of them.
Well,
maybe 1.
Can we preface this a little bit?
Yeah.
There's a lot of players that I would take if they fell through the cracks that we would trade up for. But like, what's I guess like obviously if Marvin Harrison Jr. fell through the cracks or Joe Alt fell through the cracks,
I'm not playing the
unrealistic bullcrap game. Yeah,
that everybody has been playing recently.
Yep.
Like everybody, oh, we need Joe Alt, we need this, we need Marvin Harrison. Good luck.
I need $1 million.
Yeah, throw your hand out and see if it just falls right in there.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. There's a few guys. And one of them recently is, I was thinking, Talise Fuanga, the Chiefs have talked to. I still think he goes top 10. But if there's a big run on quarterbacks, and say Schefter's right, and say you do have 4 quarterbacks go in the top 5 picks, and then, of course, you got your big 3 wide receivers, you're now down to 7. And let's just say Oli Fashanu gets picked first and Joe Alt, those 2 tackles go. And just say Fuanga kind of falls a little bit. If Fuanga got to 15, somewhere between 15 and 16, 17, somewhere in that range, or Troy Fautanu gets to one of those, I would be more than happy trading up what I'd have to go to get one of those 2 tackles. I'm not trading up for Marius Mims. He's too much of a project. I'm not trading up for Tyler Guyton. I'm not trading up for J.C. Latham. Like, I think Latham's going to end up kicking into a guard. So I trade up for Fuanga and Fautanu. So if you got an F in your last name, I'm coming to get you. Everybody else, no. I would rather stay and pick at 32 Patrick Paul than I would rather take Jordan Morgan, Tyler Guyton, Amarius Mims, or J.C. Latham. Not saying they're bad players, but I think Patrick Paul is more ready to go. And then my other one would be, I would consider a trade up for Brian Thomas, just because he's got that speed, size, and he's nasty. So that's my one guy that I would consider. And honestly, I think he's number 4.
Would you want to trade up for Brian Thomas though when there's that many receivers on the board?
Well, I just said you got your top 3, and then I think Brian Thomas is. I think Brian.
You think
Thomas
there's a big
is 4.
gap between Brian Thomas and the next guy? I guess that's my question, because I don't.
The next guy is A.D. Mitchell. There's not a super big gap, but I think Brian Thomas has a lot of intangibles that could separate him from A.D.
Right.
Mitchell, because A.D. Mitchell sometimes gets a little lazy. Sometimes,
Yeah, for sure. I saw that too. Pono says Matt Derrick says Leggett will become the next Cornell Powell. Man, there are some guys out there that can report you the news like crazy, but don't listen to their football takes. That's all I'm going to say. Good grief. HD Chiefs fan.
That's horrible. That's a horrible take. You should turn that off.
Can you imagine an actual person that claims to know a lot about football trying to compare Xavier Leggett
if me
to
and
Cornell
you said
Powell?
that, what we would get?
They might ban us from YouTube.
They would shut it down.
Shut it all the way down. Like, we're talking about a guy that run 24 miles an hour compared to Cornell Powell. Oh, brick feet. What are we talking about?
Cornell Powell, come on.
That's crazy. HD Chiefs fan, been a member for 7 months. He says, I think Mahomes will throw the contested balls when he trusts a wide receiver. He did with Tyreek. That's what I was saying earlier, man. I do think it takes a certain level of trust for Mahomes to throw these contested catches. But, is it always a decision that Mahomes makes? Sometimes it just ends up being that way. Like, it's not like he's like, he'll throw up some jump balls occasionally, mostly to Kelsey. He used to do it to Tyreek Hill. But I don't know. I guess it does take some trust there before he'll give you the chance. It's the only thing I can think. He don't throw a lot of them.
Mahomes doesn't throw a lot of fades.
No.
He don't throw a lot of back shoulder fades. He'll throw him sometime to maybe Justin Watson, which was odd. That's about the only guy he would throw him to. Him and Kelsey. I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Space says Leggett is like A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. Absolutely. That is my two comps with him. You can even sprinkle in a little bit of Jamar Chase there with that speed.
Yeah.
Like,
Brad said Fatanu drops to 20. Would you trade up? Yeah. I don't think he gets to 20. I don't think there's any chance in the world. But, yeah, absolutely. I trade up to 15 to get Fatanu. I think he's that good.
Yeah, for sure. Jake Kelsey, been a member for 8 months now, says, I would love it if we grabbed Ladd. Yeah, hey, man, I would be completely fine and content with Ladd McConkey. Mike was saying earlier, I totally agree. I think he's the best route runner in the draft probably. Just his pacing, his football IQ. He's going to be a guy that gets open. And he could do some damage, especially if you think about how Ladd could fit in this offense with Travis Kelce, with Marquise Brown, with Rashee Rice. Ladd could make us a very dangerous offense. Like, he wouldn't even have to put up a bunch of numbers. Like, he literally just has to go out there and put up until people are like, hey, we have to pay attention to this guy. Right. And then all of a sudden, Travis Kelce's leaking open. All of a sudden, Marquise Brown. Yeah, man, I'd like the Ladd McConkey pick.
Yep. Sneaky Jack Attack says, I think out of the 4 non-top, the big 3 plus Brian Thomas, I'd take and be happy with McConkey, Mitchell, Pearsall, and Leggett. I'm right there with you. I'd be fine with them.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with Worthy and Coleman. I'm back and forth.
I would throw Coleman in the first mix and get rid of Worthy. That's where I'm at with it.
I can see why people could say Coleman on the hit or miss, but I think I would rather have Coleman over Worthy. But what's funny is when it comes to the Chiefs scheme, Worthy may be the one that would fit our scheme better, sadly.
Right. But, I mean, Worthy's somebody you would get if you thought that Marquise Brown was great, but we weren't going to be able to retain him.
Right.
But,
it's two separate things. Do you want big upside? If you want big upside, it's A.D. Mitchell, it's Leggett, right?
Maybe you guys can tell me this, and I'm going to end our poll in a minute, but Mike, maybe you can answer this, and then if there's anybody in the chat that wants to answer it, I'd personally like to know. What do you think is it that separates Coleman from that first group of people? Like, because to me, I feel like he is probably as solid or more solid than some of those guys, and definitely Xavier Worthy. Like, I don't know why he's not being in that conversation. What's making Keon Coleman fall? Because you want to say his speed is 40 time, or he don't get a lot of separation in his tape, but like his production was through the roof. The guy has better hands than most of those guys on the first list. He's a faster speed in a playing situation than the other guys were. He was the fastest one in the gauntlet drill at the combine, faster than everybody. Like what is it that makes Coleman out of that top thing? Because I've been trying to figure that out myself, because I've always held Coleman up there with those first 4 guys you mentioned, but not a lot of people do. So like, what's the disconnect?
I've talked about it 1,000 times. I think that he just really struggles to separate a lot. Like, there's times that he just struggles. He in crucial situations, he disappears. They will not go to him. I see that a lot. His deep speed, I mean, I get it. 4.61's not the worst, but it's slow. I mean, everybody above him is 4.4 or better. Like, Xavier Leggett's 4.39, 4.21,
right,
4.41, 4.39.
How come in a game situation when he's actually catching the ball, he was running way faster than the rest of them? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
as in what? Like, just the gauntlet drill?
Yeah, well, that's a good example. In the gauntlet drill, he ran 22 miles an hour. He was faster than everybody else in the combine. Well, that's because he was physically catching balls and like doing something. It wasn't just running the sprint.
I mean, I don't know. I think sometimes in his routes, he gets really slow on his routes. What I was noticing the other day, I went back and watched some, and I was like, why can't he get open? I think sometimes he tries to get too physical. Like, he hand fights too much. He tries to initiate too much contact, in my opinion. I think he needs to get people off of him. I get he's a big guy and he wants to win that way, but I don't think he needs it. There were times he didn't sell, like, he doesn't sell like his in and outs very well. Like, he just doesn't set up the receiver very well. Like, if you put his tape on next to, say, Ladd McConkey or Ricky Pearsall, which I get it, they're way smaller.
Yeah.
But look at the way they set up a route, and he just doesn't have that route running finesse, I guess you could call it. And again, could just be he's not ran enough routes in his time. I don't know, but just sometimes he looks a little stiff, in my opinion. But I still think he could be like a big slot receiver. Even I comped him to Marquez Colston. I think he could do that.
Yep. All right. Tad says Fuanga is a right tackle. I would trade up for Mims, and if Alt fell to 11, I'd make the call. Alt is not going to fall to 11. You can get Joe Alt off your brains, people. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, Amarius Mims, he definitely could fall to a range where we could trade up and get him. He's more of a project, absolutely. And he might not be more than a right tackle. Let's be honest.
He is a right tackle. He played every snap at right tackle in college.
Right. So, I mean, is he going to be more than that? We don't know. He had a very small sample size of him actually playing. The thing that goes for Mims is the fact that his athleticism mixed with his size. Like, he holds his weight and his height better than just about any of these guys. Super ridiculous athlete, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think that he.
Mims is a project. Again, he had we run a lot of zone style runs. His grade in blocking for zone is a 58. It's his lowest thing by far. So he doesn't really fit what we do. Like, it just don't. He only played 800 snaps in college. And I get it. He didn't allow any sacks, and he didn't allow any QB hits. But he only played 801, and they were all at right tackle. So I'm still not for sure he can move to left tackle. I'm still not for sure his footwork's good enough, because sometimes his footwork's just not good. It's very shaky in the run game. It doesn't look that great sometimes. Sometimes I feel like he gets heavy-footed during certain like cross chop moves and different things like that. I feel like sometimes when the defensive end puts on like a double move and he'll spin to the inside, sometimes he doesn't mirror him well, because I feel like sometimes his feet's just a little stuck in the mud. So that's things that can be coached, and I'm sure that's what people want there, but I just don't know. Now, to me, for Fuanga, I get it. He's played a lot of snaps at right tackle. He's not played anything but right tackle either, but his zone run grade is a 91, which means, yes, and technically, I don't know if he could play left tackle, but he can play guard instantly. So, in my opinion, I don't think Mims can kick into guard and be that good. I think Fuanga could. And look, he would, at worst, be a guy that you could try at left tackle. If it don't work, he can replace, Trey Smith next year possibly. And then maybe if you want to get rid of Jawan Taylor's big-ass contract, you can put him at right tackle for 10 years. So Fuanga's just got all those things, and Andy and them's talked to him. So I still think Andy and them thinks that he could be a guy that could do that.
Yep. Kay Wayne says, I'm a Leggett fan. You and me both, buddy. I need a good, nice profile picture like Kay Wayne's.
Yeah.
Look at it. Tin Bomb from HD Chiefs fan says, pitch in to help others be ad-free, free ACU. Let's go, baby. Yeah, man, ads can get annoying, I guess, but it is what it is. We got to feed the family.
Ads. Do they
what
not
kind of
let
ads?
you just skip them, though? Like, if I ever get on YouTube, it only makes me watch ads for about 5 seconds. Then
you can get unskippable ads. Like, sometimes they'll come on, you just have to watch it. Happens to me.
But they don't let us choose. They just put what they want up. It's not like so if you're getting a lot of those, it's not like we're making you do it. So,
look, it says it's balanced, okay? They're going to do it.
Right, that's what it says.
Yeah,
do you want balanced, or I don't remember what the other suggestion was.
You can do heavy.
Yeah, you can do heavy. We're not going to do that.
I don't know. We might be in that heavy range, guys.
Oh, I'm heavying it up.
Appreciate the 10 there, Kyle.
Yeah, appreciate the 10. Gabriel says, let the boy watch. Let the boy watch is becoming a thing, Steve.
It is.
Let the boy watch.
Should we put that on a t-shirt? Let the boy watch. Do you get sued by East down and down? You can't copyright a phrase.
Oh, you can. You can.
You can, but it's not, right?
Is it trademark? Yeah. You can do that.
You can let the boy watch all chiefed up. Let the boy watch.
Pono says, no projects, please. We have enough of those. We can't chance those protecting Patrick. Move up for a day one ready starter. Pono, the problem is there's only like 2 day one ready starters, and that's speculating. Joe Alt's out of the question. Joe Alt is not, if he gets out of the top 5, he's getting taken at 7. Like, there's no way to get Alt feasibly for the Chiefs. And yeah, you have people out there, Chiefs talking heads, you have ex-players out there feeding this BS narrative to you all, but it's not going to freaking happen. If they do, I will eat my words. But I will get on here. I don't know. What could I do to embarrass myself if I'm wrong?
Cry. Force yourself to cry and apologize.
I'll do something.
It can't, though.
It's just not going to happen, dude.
Be logical for just a second. The Titans are probably his floor at 7.
Absolute floor. Yeah, it's Titans.
Think about this. The Chargers are at pick 5.
They're
going to
take
a tackle.
They're going to take him.
They could take it.
I almost bet it.
But the thing is even the Chargers don't want to take it. Let's just say they don't, and they're looking to get out. The Chargers aren't trading with the Chiefs. So now you're not getting into the top 3. You're not getting the Chargers at 5. And you're not getting the Giants at 6 because the Giants at 6 don't want to go out. They're trying to go up for quarterbacks and stuff. They don't want to fall that far back. So your only opportunity is to go to number 4, the freaking Cardinals, and they want a top 3 wide receiver. So they're not even listening to the Vikings' first 2 right now. Like they've not even made that trade yet because they want to make sure they get one of the top 3 wide receivers. So they're thinking that they're not even trying to trade at this point. So there's feasibly nobody to trade with unless he gets past number 7. And then that's Atlanta at number 8. And it's like,
it's not going to happen.
I don't think so.
Not going to happen. Chief Kelsey says Mem only has 1,000 snaps and only started 8 games in his career. Yeah, 100%. He's the definition of a project, right? So, I mean, trading up for Mims is very risky. Roberto, good to see you, my man. I haven't seen you in a minute. He says, did you guys come up with the name of the podcast from that old 311 song? I think he's talking about All Mixed Up. Is that what that one's called?
All Mixed Up. Yeah, I remember that one. No,
yeah, no, that's not it. But I could see the.
I don't even know how we come up with the name of it, to be honest. Oh, Kayla just randomly said it one day, and we were like, "Yeah, I don't know. Let's do it." We were tired of thinking. We should have just done what Cole did.
I think Kayla came up with Chiefed Up, and I was like, "Let's just add an all to it."
Right. We should have just done what Cole did. Just let Andy Reid come up with your.
We should have just took the biggest catchphrase we could think of. Yeah,
that would have been easy, right? We were trying to be clever, and this guy just comes out with, "How about those Chiefs?" Which is just daggone.
The oldest saying in the book. You could have done. What else would be considered like that? Like the home of the Chiefs, like something like that. I don't know.
Could have just went home of the Chiefs, man. We had a national anthem sang at the beginning of every episode.
What's happening here? Curtis says, "What the freak just happened? My landlord has Rice in our dynasty league." Oh, I get it. Oh, nothing. They're just saying multi-game suspension for Rice, which is what everybody knows, right? We all know that some sort of suspension's coming. It's not going to be one game. So multi-game suspension, which was put out there by Adam Schefter, is just basically saying the same thing we already know. There's going to be a suspension. So tell your landlord not to freak out too much.
Pono says, come on, Matt is a good guy. He compares similar character traits he has with Powell, not essentially the physical aspects. I don't compare nothing.
There's nothing. That is night and day.
Who was it again? Xavier Legette?
Yeah.
And Cornell Powell?
That's crazy. I'm not saying Matt's not a good guy, but that's asinine. That's wild.
I don't even start to get that one.
If I was Xavier Legette and someone said that, I'd go to his house and smack him in the face.
Is it because they both played for a school in South Carolina?
Maybe. It's just not the same, man.
I don't get it.
Xavier Legette's a guy that could catch a slant route and burn up 80 yards and just blow everybody out of the water, like Jamar Chase style. And then you have Cornell Powell, who it's Cornell Powell.
Cornell Powell. We actually had Chief fans telling us that Cornell Powell needs a chance to play.
That was a weird thing too, right?
Take. That's a weird hill to die on. Look, people say a lot of stuff, but that one's wild, man.
Karth says, if Alt's last name was Smith, would everyone be throwing everything at getting him? That's another thing. I think a lot of these, so first of all, I was talking about earlier, and you'll see it on we touched on it for 2 seconds on a video that we'll be releasing tomorrow. But Tim Grunhard actually tweeted and talked about trading up to get Joe Alt. Right. And the only thing that I can speculate is obviously that's a fantasy land wish, but is he really pushing for it because he was buddies with his dad or like teammates with his dad? Like, I'm with you. I do think the name definitely makes that pick more sexy to Chiefs fans just off of pure nostalgia. I don't know, but I'm with you. I don't know if they would.
This was the tweet. It says, solidify the second most important position for 12 years and spend the draft capital on Joe Alt. Mahomes is the crown jewel of the organization. Alt is also Chiefs' legacy, so he said it. Alty has quick hands and outstanding arm extension, promoting his abilities to sustain blocks and redirect pass rushers. Protect the franchise. Move to 7. Again,
he did say he had to go to 7.
Move to 7. You're trading with the team that wants him?
That's not happening, man.
That's not happening. So now you got to go to 6. 6 is the Giants. They're not going back that far. 5 is the Chargers. They're not trading with you. So now you got to go to 4. The Cardinals. They're not going to do that. They want a top 3. So who are you going to?
No, but anyway, since we disagreed with Grunny, apparently that means that we're disrespectful.
Yeah, there it was. This is infeasible, impractical, and almost impossible. It's also highly unnecessary. Why is it highly unnecessary, Steve, to be giving up that much draft capital?
We didn't have Joe Alt. We didn't have a great left tackle for the last 2 Super Bowls we've won.
Right. I would love to get him, but giving up that much is crazy. Putting this stuff out there is the reason we see people getting their hopes up for a move like this and losing all reason this time of the year. I then went on to say this isn't supposed to be disrespectful, but this is what people are doing, and then Brett Veach comes out and takes somebody every year, and people just crap on it and act like the draft, everybody hates the person we draft because everybody's got their high hopes for Joe Alt. But it's like, I come up with this theory today, Steve. It's almost the same as like, if you said, I'm going to go buy me a new BMW, and I'm like, well, expect to pay like $60,000, right? And that's probably cheap these days, but I'm like, expect to pay $60,000. And you're like, no, man, I think I can get it for like 30. And I'm like, no, you're going to pay 60. So then when you go and you have to pay 60, you come back to me and you say, you're arrogant. You think you know everything. I hate you. That's what it's like.
It's true.
It's weird.
Mike, we got a freaking 20 bomb.
Let's
20
go.
bomb. I think that deserves some air horns.
That definitely deserves some air horns.
If we're going to have really loud, annoying air horns, it's going to be with the 20 bomb comes across.
There it is.
Yeah, but he says if one of these top tier tackles could be the franchise left tackle for the next 10 years, would you not try and use next year's first rounder? Because if we're going to pick 27 plus every year, we're going to always have to pick project linemen. I understand that sentiment completely, Dub Freak. Like, I get it. But I just think, like, there's a difference between trading up for what you consider a top tier lineman and then being unrealistic. So, like, let's go get Joe Alt. That's not freaking happening. It's just not going to happen.
A lot of people are throwing out, Steve, that we went from 27 to 10 to get Patrick Mahomes. That's also a franchise quarterback.
Right, and that was also, by many standards, was a risk, a massive risk.
Oh, that was a massive risk that paid off. I don't think it would be that big of a risk to trade up for Alt, but at the same time, I don't know if he's as slam dunk as everybody's thinking he is. He's good, but I don't know if I call him like generational or anything.
But yeah, I mean, there's still a little bit of a risk in play there. No, but I get the sentiment, and I do honestly think like if there was something feasible. First of all, you got to remember we're dealing with pick 32. Probably pick 32 next year after we three-peat, Mike. So, like, what are we doing here? So, is someone really going to trade us a top 7 pick for pick 32 and pick 32
We've talked about
year?
this. You've got to go to pick 4. What are the Cardinals going to take to get? Look, they're turning down.
You have to trade 3
They're turning
first-round
down
picks.
the Vikings 2 picks right now, who's got 11 and like 21, and they're probably going to turn that down and just go ahead and take Marvin Harrison Jr. So you're going to give them a 32 and a 32 next year, and then what else? 32 the year after, and then a second round this year, and then a third round. You're going to end up being out so many picks, and that's the thing. I get the left tackle thing. It would be nice to have it, but you're going to have to hit on a guy like Wanye before you can trade everything off, because the way this team's built, Patrick Mahomes takes up too big of a chunk of the salary cap. Brett Veach has to hit on a lot of picks. If Brett Veach hadn't hit on all these defensive picks over the past 3 or 4 years, do you think we'd have won these Super Bowls? I don't know. I don't think so, because you have to field a team with good quality, cheap players. And he's been able to do that because
Right.
of all the corners he's drafted and the safeties and Leo and Creed and Nick Bolton, Trey Smith. These are the backbone of the team that he's picked. And if you're giving all these picks away for one guy, whether he hits or not, you're still in trouble.
Right. Hey, appreciate the 20, Dub Freak. Y'all put some legendaries in the chat for Dub Freak.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
so call me crazy, but
20 bomb.
call me crazy.
You're
but
crazy.
For this left tackle situation, Mike, would it make more sense to go and get a proven left tackle when they're available, either trade for one or go get them when they're a free agent, like someone proven, but no, we spend all that money on Jawan Taylor. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Again, we've had our chances. I don't
Like, why do you want to take a stab in the draft? First of all, with the draft, like, even if you traded up for Joe Alt, what if you traded the whole draft for the next 3 years to get Joe Alt? And then he didn't pan out.
right.
Like, that's crazy to me.
Look, I like Joe Alt as much
and
as
I
the
think he's
next
going to be
guy.
good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I
Right.
think Joe Alt's going to be very
Joe
good.
Alt is number 5 on my entire big board. By the way, we're going to release our ACU top 100. I was going to do top 50, and I've turned it into a top 100 because I'm maniacal and crazy like that.
We better release it soon, baby, because this
And
draft is sneaking
we're
up
gonna
on
release
us.
it tonight. I'm going to throw it on
Let's
Twitter.
go.
I'm just
Let's
going to put
go.
it on Twitter. Go get it. I'm just going to throw images on Twitter.
I'll
But
get
the
some.
thing
I'll
is-
put it over there on. I'll put it on the community tab here too.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, with Joe Alt, is that he has only played 26 games at left tackle. That's it. He's played 2021 and 2022. Before that, he was a tight end. Like, this dude was a tight end. That proves that he's athletic and this and that, and it proves that he's got room to grow. But there are still flaws in some of his games. So, for example, he's played 2,178 left tackle snaps, okay? He's given up 4 sacks. That's great, right? 1 in every 544 snaps. But think about this. People's not even talking about, say, Troy Fautanu as even being anywhere close. Troy Fautanu has played the same amount of snaps and only given up 3 sacks. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there are other guys here that's got the similar footwork. They've got the similar arm length. They've got the similar structure. I just don't know if it's 100% lock or not. Again, everybody thought Paris Johnson was the 100% lock last year. And Paris Johnson, again, had a 60 overall grade, a 64 pass, and a 61 run. And to be honest, Wanye had a better pass blocking grade. Wanye was a 63, and Paris Johnson was a 64. So look at all the stuff you'd had to give up to get Paris Johnson for a 1 extra PFF graded point compared to a guy we got in the 3rd round in Wanye.
Right, Mike. We got a 5 bomb from Roberto. He says,
Go.
"Get a couple Mountain Dews, Steve. I appreciate you, Roberto.
What about Mike? Mike don't get Mountain Dews? I see how y'all are.
Hey, you know what I have to say about that? I'm going to give him a horn. How about that?" Because he excluded you. He said,
Bro, look.
he told me to get him.
I don't care. Robert, I thought we were friends. We're not, I guess. Look, I drink Prime. Did you know? I just discovered this.
You trying to get a Prime sponsorship?
Did you know they're bottled in Louisville, Kentucky? It's right up the
Oh,
road. You should
what about
probably bring us on here for Prime, Mr. Jake Paul or whatever your name is. But here's my other one.
And we're a Chiefs podcast, and you already have Mahomes.
Right. You already got Mahomes doing Prime. This is perfect. We're the prime candidates for a Prime sponsorship. And I learned that if you go to KFC, you can get KFC fried chicken Prime, and it's supposed to taste like fried chicken.
Do what?
They did it as a gimmick to make a Prime taste like fried chicken, and
That
apparently
sounds
this is a real thing.
disgusting, bro.
It's supposed to be disgusting, I think. It
You
says that
think?
humans
Could
shouldn't
it
even
possibly
consume
be
it.
good?
I got to get my hands on it. I at least want the bottle. The bottle's got like Jake Paul on the cover looking like the Colonel. Like, it's going to be hilarious. I got to find one. We also need one of those new Shadow Milks, the 49ers tiers.
Yeah, we didn't get
Somebody's
that.
got to send us one of them. Our boy Steve-O sent us one last year.
Yeah, we have the Eagles tier, so I have that over here, actually.
Hey, somebody's got to help us out because they won't send to us.
Flapjack City says we won the Super Bowl because the league had a down year last year. Don't be trolling our chat.
Flapjack.
You flapping too much, Jack.
Come on.
Mike, Roboito with the 5 bomb. He says, get you a couple of primes, Mike.
We're friends. Let's go. Let's go.
That's awesome. Appreciate you, Roberto. You're the man. Y'all put some legendaries in the chat for
That's
Roberto.
what's up.
Then we got a 5 bomb from Flapjack. He says, if you're drinking prime, we ain't feeling. Yeah. Oh, I see what he's saying here. Look, he don't want you to get primes, okay? He said, go ahead and give me that $5 so I can get some more, some Mountain Dews.
I would drink Mountain Dew, but
I have to say Mountain Dew like Ricky Bobby. I'm
Look.
not happy with myself.
inflation. Can't afford them. 24-pack of them is like $76 right now.
Yep.
No.
You know what I'm going to do after I drink these Mountain Dews, Mike?
What?
Chip, I'm gonna come at you like a spider monkey.
Like a spider monkey. Go on.
Let's go, baby.
Daggone, you will.
I'm going to get all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
You come at us like a spider monkey.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all put some legendaries in chat for Flapjack and Roberto and Dub Freak and
Let's
Pop
go.
and everybody else.
Let's go.
Man.
Steve, this is going to be a wild week, man. Tomorrow night, by the
Yeah.
way, before we take Darren's question,
Mm-hmm.
we have our members only
Yes.
live stream we're going to do
Write
tomorrow.
it down,
so
baby, write
become
it down.
a member if you haven't. Starts at $4.99. Go to, what is it, subscribe.allchiefedup.com or something like that?
Join.allchiefedup.com.
Join.allchiefedup.com or just click our name, click become a member, $4.99. It's awesome.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to donate some memberships and get
Yeah.
more people in there, feel
Make
free.
sure you got gifting on that.
But it'll be
works.
fun. It'll be a good time. We're going to do that tomorrow evening. Mike, we got that to do. We got a lot of other stuff to do. The draft is coming up on us, man. We are a few days away. So a lot of work that we've been doing kind of coming to a culmination. It'll be fun. But we got a question from Darren here. He says, can't we just draft a good guard and lengthen his arms? We can go gadget the guy. Let's do it. I'm all for it. I'm okay
Yeah,
with
Andy and them like to do the arm length thing, and I'm pretty sure they have to. They like over. Is it Andy like over 34? I think.
it. Yeah, I think that's usually
I think
about
it's
it.
34. So I mean, think about this. This is another thing. I love Troy Fatanu. People don't love him like I do, but they said Troy Fatanu had too short of arms. He's a guard, Mike. He's a guard. 34.5 inch. Joe Alt's arms are only 34 and a fourth. So he's got longer arms than Alt, and he's supposed to be generational. And Fatanu's got to play guard because his arms are too short. See how people just manipulate stuff?
Yeah, it's
Quit.
pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Quit manipulating.
Roberto wants to know what time we're doing the members only live stream. He says he works till 5 p.m. Eastern time.
We'll
That's probably
go on
about
at like
that's probably about when we'll do it, right?
we
I
might
don't
do
know.
5:30 to 6, somewhere in that range.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Probably 5:30 or 6 o'clock Eastern time. You can pin that down.
Yeah, I'll go a little bit later. I still have to work and everything, but
Yeah, see, I go to work, I come home, work here, Mike works here, then he leaves here and goes to work, and it's just never ending work.
it's a never-ending cluster
Never stops.
of crap.
Never stops, baby. And of course, we're going to be live streaming the entire draft this weekend. So
That's gonna be bittersweet because I like it, but I have a feeling, man, you've got tons of competition.
oh, everybody's going to be streaming this. thing.
Yeah, you got tons of competition. I feel like everybody's just gonna be like, what's it called? Like overwhelmed. It's gonna be wild. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
Des says, are there any realistic tackles to trade for? Oh, like in the league?
I mean, not
Yikes.
necessarily right this second, but like I think there were opportunities in the last couple of years to do so. I remember there was a big thing about Laramie Tunsil talking about the Chiefs trading for him last offseason. They did, and I think they showed interest. I think they actually reached out to him and everything.
I think they
Or
may
the
have,
Tex-
actually.
Not him, but the Texans. But he ended up staying put. So I think it's definitely something that Brett Veach kicks the tires on every offseason for sure. It's just when people have like a career left tackle, they don't want to give them up, man. So it is tough.
Right. I'm kind of curious. I'm going to go look around. I'll see if I can come up with any names for you.
Uh-oh. K. Wayne says oversaturated. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to be. Everybody going to be live streaming. But hey, we're going to be here. We're going to do the whole dang thing. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, we all know, look, if you want the best draft content, you come to the guy that's obsessed with the draft.
Oh,
Who's
yeah,
that?
for sure.
That's me.
For sure. If you just want to watch the draft and know who got picked, then by all means, watch the TV. But if you want to hear what they had to eat yesterday and what they did when they were 8 years old, Mike's going to
yeah.
let you know all about it, baby. Mike's going to give you the rundown on
He'll let you
every
know.
pick. Every pick. Chiefs fan says Andy's arm length is anything after 33. I think it's 34. I guess
Could be
it's
33.
semantics here. We could be saying the same thing.
Yeah, it could be 33. Which there's only one tackle in this entire class under 33-inch arms, and that's Jordan Morgan. So there you go. Everybody, Jordan Morgan is going to be a guard. That's why I think that's why I just can't get on board with Jordan Morgan. When I watch him, I'm like, this guy's going to get trucked in
Right.
the NFL.
Look, Pono knows the questions to ask to all chiefed up. He says, your opinions on the new coach replacing Calipari. He was a Bieniemy prototype. Players didn't respond to his gritty style. Go Wildcats. Pono, are you a Wildcats fan? You have to let us know. Of course we are here in Kentucky. So Mark Pope was a member of the 96 Kentucky Wildcats, the best college basketball team of all time. The greatest of all time. So you got to love Mark Pope. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt here. He was at BYU, correct?
Yeah, he coached at Utah State and BYU.
Had a little bit of ties there to Coach Reed being the BYU guy. So I like it. I feel good things about Mark Pope. I think he'll definitely get the program back on track. Calipari kind of put us in the pit for several years.
Matt Jones. If you like Kentucky basketball, you know Matt Jones.
Yeah.
Matt Jones had talked about how over the last few years, if you've noticed, there wasn't this mass exodus of players that left Kentucky when Pope got here and just went straight to Arkansas. Everybody thought they were just going to follow Cal, and there's been one player.
Right.
And I think that was Big Z, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else is actually committed to Arkansas. None of his coaches followed him. Orlando Ortiz.
Kenny Payne.
Is he going to follow him?
Yeah, he already did.
Antigua's going to Illinois. Like, there's a bunch of them not doing it. One of them went to Duke. Like, they're just not doing it. And Matt Jones was talking about how it's just been brutal trying to work for Cal over the last, 4 or 5 years. Like, he's not listening to nobody. He won't accept any kind of criticism. Dude, you can tell. He shows up to every press conference and won't even talk.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan. Cal just not a good X and O's coach.
Pono says, yes, sir, Anthony Davis. Let's go. AD. So Joker's making him look silly, though. Man, Joker makes a lot of people look silly. He's one of the best players in the NBA. So
Right.
AD, man, though, if he could have stayed healthy, I think he could have had a better career. He's still one of the best players out there, I think.
Do you think – so I was looking for some names for your tackle.
Yep.
And I don't know what could get him, but everybody's always talking about, Justin Jefferson. What about Christian Darrisaw? Could that be a name?
Mike, if I'm not mistaken, you and Pops were pretty big on Darrisaw coming out of the draft, right?
Yeah, but see, I don't think they do it because now if they're going to make the play to get McCarthy or, Drake May, you need a left tackle. So they're probably not – I don't think they're in full rebuild mode or anything, so I don't think Darrisaw's the guy they're going to do. So, but that's probably one of the only ones I can think of that has, because Brett Veach likes to hit them, right before they get ready to end their rookie contracts and things.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's him and it's Rashawn Slater and Tristan Wirfs. Rashawn Slater's with the Chargers, so they're not trading him. So maybe Tristan Wirfs, I don't see him leaving Tampa Bay either. It's tough to get – man, once you get your hands on a left tackle, it's tough. So I totally get the sentiment, go get the big tackle and give up your draft for it. I get it. I just don't know if teams are going to help. They're not going to do it.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see you. We'll see you later, Daniel Akers. Thanks for hanging out, my man. Let's see. Roberto says Willie Cauley-Stein. That's a name right there. He was a beast in college basketball. Kay Wayne says, woohoo, let's talk Mizzou's Final Four successes. How about that? Have they been to a Final Four in basketball?
Missouri?
I don't know the history of Missouri's basketball team, so
that's crazy.
I can't talk too much trash. I don't know.
Yeah, they're new. They're like new SEC blood.
I don't want to say your name completely wrong, but he says Kentucky basketball may be cooked, fellas, not going to lie. I don't think so, man. I think they're actually going to be better off in the long run. Like Mark Pope's going to get players in there that could potentially play more than 1 year with the team. And he's going to get probably guys that care more about team basketball. Calipari has pulled in. I mean, if you go look at the NBA right now, a big percentage of the best players in the NBA came from Kentucky under Calipari. 100%.
But that's what he was. He was an NBA farm system.
Right. And I don't think that worked that well for the
fan base.
The program in Lexington. I don't think it did. But
and
I mean,
let's be honest, Cal, with all that talent, he had a team that almost went 38-0, and they ended up getting beat by like a crappy Wisconsin team.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know how to coach them properly.
By a guy that you never heard of again after that.
And then getting bounced year after year, man. Just over and over. He went to we lost to Richmond in the NIT. Dude, he won one championship with all that talent and it took Anthony Davis to do it.
No basketball. All right, we got to get off the basketball subject here.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, we'll put that one on the list.
Things we can't talk about.
Yeah, man. Draft those coming. I actually saw a funny comment I wanted to click on up here, but I keep losing things. It was Sam. He said no basketball, but I'll tell you this. He said Mike will be wore out, passed out, and in hibernation by Thursday night and miss the entire draft.
That could be. I think that once Sunday rolls around and the draft's fully over, I honestly think I may have to hibernate for a few days. But I don't think I can. It just means now we got to start talking about who we did draft, right? Yeeks.
Man, it's going to be it'll be fun to see what actually happens, because I'll tell you what, man, this year we got to get our final predictions together as well. This year is way harder to predict than previous years, in my opinion. We've hit several players in the last couple of drafts, Mike, but this year I don't know if I'm feeling 100% confident this year.
No. We still got to do our final mock, and we haven't even done it.
That's what I was just saying.
And honestly, I tell you, I want to say that we'll trade out of the first round, but I don't know if there's anybody willing to come up. So at 32, it's honestly you
it
say,
would depend.
well,
Do one of the quarterbacks, like Bo Nix or Penix, does somebody decide, hey, we'll go grab him at the end of the first round?
it's possible, but again, it's tough to call trades there, right?
Yeah, it's very tough.
So you almost have to just say stick and pick, and then.
Well, I think the way that you have to do the predictions, we can maybe try to predict some sort of a trade, which we normally try to if we think it's possible, but it's so hard to predict. Sometimes it's just better just to pick the picks, and if they trade, they trade. You know?
Right. And yeah, you
tough.
usually take usually count pick hit or misses. You pick based off of positions. So if you say wide receiver X and they take wide receiver Y, technically you hit. You just get bonus points like if you hit the exact player. That's usually the way they do those kinds of things, because look, dude, I would be so pumped to see Brett Veach's draft board, but I guarantee you it don't look nothing like anything we talk about. I would almost be willing to bet it would be
Who
pretty
knows,
wild.
man? Who knows? Space says I'll be sad to lose Creed or Trey Smith. I would try to sign them both. They're more they're reliable for sure. I think if there's a way they can get that done, they might do it. But one thing that they would have to look at maybe replacing would be Joe Tooney, because he takes a big chunk of the salary cap. So it's going to be hard to
paying these these centers and guards a lot right now because of these defensive tackles, like the Chris Joneses of the world, the Christian Wilkins.
Yeah,
these guys are just they're counteraction, man. You got to block them, so you got to pay for these guards and centers.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I wonder if there's a player would you be interested if? Now I don't think this is at all possible, but I think it's more possible. It is more possible than the Joe Alt conversation. What if, say, you have a Graham Barton from Duke that can play every positional place out there?
I do like that.
Slides down the board. Would you come up a few spots to him, or would you just sit there at 32 and take him if he fell?
Or a Jackson Powers Johnson, or somebody, just anyone that's good. Graham Barton is good because he can play anywhere.
He's a first-round lock. For sure. There's so many GMs loving
But yeah,
him.
I mean, that does bring up another conversation. If there are guys like that fall into the first round, then yeah, maybe we do, because we definitely need that offensive line depth. It doesn't necessarily have to be left tackle, does it?
Any player that you like, if we stick and pick at 32, any player that you just right now have a hunch that the Chiefs could look at? Because I think there's one guy for me that's just kind of sticking out right now, and I don't really know why. but it's sticking to me, and it's not a wide receiver, and it's going to make a lot of Chiefs fans angry.
Yeah, for sure. Ray says Tyreek Hill felt disrespected when the Chiefs gave Pacheco number 10. Wah. Wah.
We're supposed to retire his number?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Jeez.
Get out of town. Look, man, he can't keep the Chiefs out of his mouth. Have you noticed? Like, we knew when he went to Miami that it was going to be a regret for him, right? Obviously not in his pocketbook, but as far as like legacy, we knew that. But that was the trade-off. Like, you want to go be the top paid guy, you're not gonna have the legacy. You want the legacy, you do what Patrick Mahomes does, you do what Travis Kelce does, you do what other guys do, and you leave a little bit leave a little bit of meat on the bone for the other guys.
Yeah.
And he just refused to do it. So boo-hoo, buddy. Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo.
Uh-oh, Chief Kelce pulling it out, baby.
What?
He says Chiefs can go up for a guy or down on a guy. What the hell?
Y'all being vulgar out here.
Oh, Mike. That's going to be an all-time classic blunder there. I like it. I'm a fan of it. Good times.
What should I have said?
I don't know how you could have said that any differently.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
you didn't say it crazy. I think it's just we're all perverts. Perverts.
I guess I could say I'm rising and then falling.
You're right. No,
But
I don't know.
You'd have said that too.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there's just nothing I could possibly say without everybody just being a bunch of perverts.
Roberto says, Mike, you acted like you didn't know what you said after. Did you know what you said?
really
You just
don't.
you played dumb?
No, I honestly didn't know. Now I have said I've said things that I've caught before, like what was it? I was thinking the other day because I was like, why is draft talk all vulgar? Oh, when I said sometimes you'll say a guy's got a good get off.
I hate it so much. I'll be watching like
That's a
RGR
thing.
or like another channel. I'll be watching some Chiefs content.
That's what they
you know?
call it. But if I say that, I instantly cringe, right?
Man, every time they say that, I can't handle it. I can't do it.
But you can't just be vulgar all the time. Like, these are the real things.
I'm sorry.
It's a grown sport, Steve, where men play with balls. Okay? Everything could be perverted.
Mike,
if you
stop
want it to
that
be.
one guy that don't want you to say podcast for that ass that's never going to watch again because
He
we
says
just
he turns it off anyway, so he turned
he
it
didn't
off
get
in 3
he didn't get
seconds.
this far, so we're good. We can do it.
Jeez.
We can say whatever we want. Pop, still hanging around. I'm surprised you haven't fell asleep yet, old man. He says, what one player in this draft would you bet money on to be a stud player year one? That's a good question.
Jeez.
Let me think, man. Do I have one of those? If I had to bet my actual money on it, I would probably go with Joe Alt. Wouldn't that be more like, because I feel like that's a little more safe, right?
Let's say he goes to the Titans.
Yeah, true. I don't know.
The Titans are always going to be playing from behind. He's going to have to deal with tons of blitzes.
That's true. I don't know. What would be a safe bet there?
One of the big 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, but that's risky too.
Maybe even, and it is cliche, maybe Caleb Williams. I honestly think the Bears are a pretty good position.
Yeah, they're not bad, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's got tons of pass catchers, and he's got a good running back now that can get easy completion. It's a pretty good situation. Or, to be honest, whoever the Vikings land at QB, that's a great position. Who don't want to go to the Vikings? I think
That's
a pretty good
That's a good one.
play caller there, good coach, a lot of good targets,
Yeah.
good wide receiver threats. So
Pop's going off the cuff and saying Edger and Cooper. I do like that, though. I like Cooper.
I don't think he's a year one lock.
I don't know about that, but I mean, I do
Yeah.
like him. I do
To
like
me,
him.
he's a little. Look, if you tell Edger and Cooper, you don't give him anything to think about, and you say, on this play, you guard this man, he can do it. On this play, you go after quarterback, he can do it. If he's
So,
got to process stuff,
now-
I don't know.
If he stays healthy, I think Peyton Wilson wouldn't be a bad one. I think he's going to be pretty solid no matter what.
I think y'all both missing the mark
I don't
with
know,
that one.
though.
I think Junior Colson's going to be the first linebacker off the board.
Yeah, but what do you do there? If you're betting money and you have to bet on one guy to be a stud year one, I'm thinking of the whole first round. There's got to be a guy sitting in there somewhere, maybe not talked about that much, but you know is going to be good, right? There's got to be.
Take a guy. Look, easiest position. You take a guy, probably like Graham Barton. Take a guy that's going to get the start at center or guard, and you're going to be fine in center or guard. You got tons of help on each side of you.
That's true. Roberto with the 5 bomb. What about it, Mike? I think he needs another air horn. He says, couple of Pops drinks on me. You raised some good dudes. Appreciate the kind words.
5 bomb. I've got a name. I'm going to go, I think Talise Fuanga could do it. They kick him inside the guard maybe, and he's a road grader that finishes, and I think he could score high.
That's a tough bet to make. Appreciate the 5, Roberto. Appreciate all the 5s. He's buying all the drinks tonight.
Let's go.
Let's go. Pops is supposed to be grilling for this draft, but see, we're live streaming it, so we're going to go to Pops and we're going to eat all of his food, and we're going to sit down with him and we're going to have fun and do a mock draft and see how close we all get collectively, because that's what we do. But then we're going to have to run and do a live stream. It's going to be a big day.
So it starts at 8 p.m.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Like, Pops will be asleep by the time the Chiefs pick. Even if he's sitting up straight, he's still going to be out before the Chiefs pick.
He'll be out by the time the Falcons pick at number 8. Like, that's just happening. He may wake up in time for the Chiefs. But he's sleeping through 9 through 29.
He'll wake himself up with a snore right when the Chiefs pick. Like, oh, they took Lad McConkey.
No, he'll get mad.
Roberto says, love the show. Favorite out of all of them. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support.
Preach.
Man, I need to know how to say this name. Mike.
Demecchio.
I'm going to go Demetrio. I don't know. Correct us in the chat. That way we don't say your name wrong every time. But he says the Bears are his dark horse in the NFC. What do you think about that?
They're set up pretty well. You're going to get Caleb Williams. You're probably getting Rome Odunze at 9. And even if Rome Odunze's off the board, you may get like Brock Bowers.
Could they take down the Packers over there in that division, though? Because I feel like the Packers are set up pretty well, too. They got a lot of young, good players.
Right. Honestly, I think if J.J. McCarthy goes to the Vikings, they're not too far away from being able to compete in the division.
That's true. And then you still have the Lions, who obviously are going to be competing.
I don't know if I'd say dark horse. I'd say maybe they can fight for third. Third in the division. Let's go that.
I do think they're set up pretty well. I'm with you, but I think there's still a lot of question marks, too. A lot of things have to go their way, right?
Wait, he said that's it, the second one.
Demetrio.
Demetrio?
I got it right, baby. Let's go.
Okay, good deal.
Chief Kelsey said, my dad coaching my little league basketball team would say to a bench player, go give Johnny a blow. I had to tell him to stop saying that. That's great. It's a good story.
What's that dude's name that shows up and films you?
We dining and dashing pops.
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen. Talking about the child predators?
Yeah, he was like, he said, I'm Chris Hansen. We said, oh no.
That's awesome.
Man, I watched that. That show used to be hilarious, dude. There was this one guy, I was watching it, and this guy just kept getting caught over and over trying to like meet underage people at McDonald's, and they would catch him and he'd be like, I'm sorry, I wasn't doing what you're doing. They're like, dude, we were here Thursday and you were here. And he just kept trying to deny it, dude. It was like hilarious watching those idiots.
That's ridiculous.
People are stupid.
What's up, Ahmad? I see you. Hope you're doing well. Sam Lofton says the Bears have had so many top picks. They should be good by now. You know, I wonder about certain teams. It's like, dude, they pick in the top 5 every year. Like, shouldn't they be good by now? Like, what's going on here?
Bad franchises.
And that's another thing. Like, that, to me, that shows, obviously the draft is an important part in team building, like very important. But at the same time, like, if you don't have the other ducks in a row, it don't matter what you do in the draft.
Look, you got to hit your QB. I'm sorry, it's a QB-driven league. There's one team out of every 10 years that wins a quarterback possibly that don't have a top 5 QB. I think if Brock Purdy would have beat the Chiefs this year, he would have been that guy. Like, I don't think he's a top 5 QB in the league. Yeah. But, yeah, it just don't happen. Like, but you would get that every once in a while, but I just don't think so.
Yeah, for sure. Demetrio says that they beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, and he has family in Detroit. They were all sick. Turkey went bad. LOL. They just can't win a Thanksgiving game. Detroit's doomed to lose on Thanksgiving.
Wait, Detroit ate the turkey and the turkey was bad? Is that what he said?
Mike, good grief. His family was sick at the loss, so they didn't eat their turkey.
Oh, got you. I thought you meant like the Bears ate the turkey or something.
Steve Atkins says the new kickoff is going to be weird. I think so too. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not a huge fan of it. James says you guys should do a mock draft live with your dad. We're going to have to get Pops on here maybe for the Wednesday live stream. If we can talk Pops into getting on here and doing a mock draft.
Yeah, we could.
We need to. On the members only tomorrow, we're definitely considering letting you guys do a mock draft, like by vote or whatever. And we're going to put it up against our mock draft and see who gets closer in the first round. I think that'll be fun too. But yeah, we should definitely get Pops on here. He hasn't been actually on the show in a long time. We had him on when we first started.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We got to be careful with Pops though. Pops will get us demonetized quickly.
Yeah, Pops
got to watch him.
Everybody.
You got to watch him. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us on a Monday. We had a Monday live out of the blue.
I had to talk about Schefter's news, man.
Yeah, it was big news, right?
News.
We never saw that coming. No, but we just wanted to hang out. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Hit that like button on the way out if you have not already. If you're new to the channel, appreciate you hanging out. Hit the subscribe button. Come hang out more often, man. Get in the chat. Got good peeps in the chat. Appreciate all you guys, but we're going to have to run. And yeah, members only tomorrow night. Probably 5:30 or 6 Eastern time. It's going to be one of those two times. Keep an eye out. Sorry, we can't give you a concrete thing there because our schedules are just so... We're very, very busy. Like, especially this week's pretty crazy. But yeah, man, I think that's all I got for you guys. Mike, am I missing anything?
I don't think so, man. Y'all hit that like button for us on the way out. Get this thing out to more people because YouTube's doing their thing, man.
YouTube's got us in the doghouse. But hey, we'll have a video coming out tomorrow too as well. So catch that before you catch the members only live stream.
It's a wild one.
Yeah. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Chiefs.
Yep.
There goes a sight from my soul.